All right, let's bring in constitutional attorney Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor and a Fox News contributor. Jonathan, all of this does feel very, very odd in the way this is being carried out. Our researchers look back. There's not been one case brought in New York State where there was no wronged party that brought the case for overvaluing real estate assets. This is an unprecedented case in New York State. Is that true? And if so, what's going on here?
Well, I could find no case anywhere like this. And part of the problem is the underlying law, which doesn't require any victim. It doesn't require anyone to lose money. You know, the banks were not complaining. They apparently made money. Right. But that doesn't matter. And you have the AG, James, who ran on being a political activist. She ran on saying that she would bag Trump for anything. You know, this is the same Attorney General that sought to dissolve the National Rifle Association. That was one of her other big efforts. And now she's trying to ban Trump from doing business in New York. And a lot of New Yorkers love it. You know, this crosses the line from law to entertainment. But it should be concerning for people because it does appear that this is a case uniquely created for Trump under a law that hasn't been used in the same way against others.
Well, she made it clear that she wanted to get him, and that's not our interpretation. Those are her words. Let's watch what she said. This is the current Attorney General in New York. Watch.
Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
I say one name, Donald Trump. That should motivate you.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the
Jonathan, you know, given that and the other comment that was mentioned before, that the president has called racially driven, too male and too pale, you know, how is this happening? There's not a jury to take into account anything either. So the judge who's overseeing this case and who will make the decision just asked the former president to not state his case, essentially.
Yeah, it's very disturbing. When James was running for office, I wrote a column saying, where are the New York attorneys who are saying, hey, this is not our bar. This is not what we stand for. You don't run for office on a trophy defendant. You don't run for office promising a thrill kill. And that's what was happening here. And she has really fulfilled the worst expectations for some of us. This is not the only case that is really tinged by politics. But it's really, you know, a lot of people wouldn't object if the Attorney General was seeking some fine because there were inflated numbers. You know, inflated numbers in the real estate business in New York are a ubiquitous problem. And if you want to fine them, fine. But she's going for total annihilation. Yeah. She is asking to take this iconic figure and effectively ban him from business in New York. And the question is, why? And the answer is because that's what she promised to do, to seek his utter destruction if she can.
Yeah. You know, I think everybody wants the court system to be fair to everyone, and they want to see these situations play out. But there's a real feeling that there's some activity and some language around this that doesn't feel quite right in terms of what most of us are used to seeing in a courtroom. Let me ask you one more quick question. There are 3 states where groups have filed challenges to putting the former president on the ballot for the presidential election: Colorado, Michigan, and Minnesota. And they're doing that based on the contention that he inspired insurrection on January the 6th. Where do you think that's going?
Well, I've said before that this is probably the most dangerous legal theory to be raised during my lifetime. It is throwing matches at a tinderbox. That's what we are politically. And it's based on the 14th Amendment, Section 3, that allows for Congress to ban someone from office if they've supported insurrection or rebellion. It was written for those that had just come out of the Civil War. It was written because the Vice President of the Confederacy wanted to retake the oath he had violated. That's a war where hundreds of thousands of people died. You know, most polls show that American citizens view January 6th for what it was. It was a protest, it became a riot. It was many things, none of which were good, but I don't believe it was an insurrection. But they're trying to knock him off the ballot in just enough cases that he can't win at the very time when he appears to be the leading candidate for the presidency. And what's troubling is that they're doing this in the name of democracy. They're saying they're defending democracy by preventing tens of millions of people from voting for their choice of president.
Okay, one more, because we just got a report from inside the courtroom, Jonathan. The former president, Donald Trump, saying that the case is a disgrace and that he wants a jury. Is there any chance that he can have this thrown out and have a jury? He's calling it an election interference, I should say. Does he have any hope of getting a retrial and a jury here?
Well, he can always file for a retrial based on bias or some other problem, but that ship has sailed. I mean, it's a little bit late to ask for a jury. I don't think courts would be very responsive to that. Now, if he has grounds for bias, he can always raise those. It's just that the Court of Appeals tend to be really quite cautious about accepting bias claims. And look, we all expected this to be a lively day and some lively days ahead. Keeping Donald Trump between the lines is like herding cats. So I think that we're going to see more of this. But in order to get a mistrial, he's going to have to show clear and unmistakable bias on the part of the court.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he always says fight and push back, and that's what we're seeing in there. It's, his day and his opportunity to do just that. So we'll see where it goes. Jonathan, thank you. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Martha.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.